Hello, Tony, your deck architect here, back on my channel once more with another deck profile. So, summertime is finally upon us. The trees are green, the beaches are packed, the sun is unbearably hot. Yep, this has all the makings of a very busy summer. And you know what also generally comes with summer? Amusement parks. With their endless attractions and lively mascots, amusement parks are always a mainstay of the summer season. But with the ongoing COVID crisis, all the amusement parks are closed. So where would I possibly go to get my amusement fix? Well, fortunately for us, I managed to procure a ticket to Amazement. But what is Amazement, you ask? Amazement is a magical place created for the Yu-Gi-Oh enthusiasts like us. With rides based off of our favorite archetypes and a colorful staff, Amazement is the place to be for all things fun and Yu-Gi-Oh! They're also the home of the archetype we're covering today, that being the Amaze archetype. Now, to give a brief overview of the Amaze archetype, the Amaze are an archetype split between two sub-archetypes, representing the two most crucial parts of Amazement. The first being the rides, represented in the form of our Amazement Attraction traps, and the second being the staff, represented by our Amazement monsters. The general playstyle of this deck aims to equip the Amazement Attraction traps to monsters, providing a different effect depending on who controls the equipped monster. To bolster this, the Amazement monsters themselves come packing with effects designed to help you access your attractions easier, thus creating an incredibly consistent control game that aims to slowly whittle down your opponent until the park's closing time. And those are some of the things I want to showcase as I get through the deck profile. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have droned on enough. Without a further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Starting off the deck, we begin with the traps instead of the monsters, because let's face it, you didn't come to Amazement to speak with the staff. No, you came to see the attractions. And speaking of attractions, Amazement provides us with 5 unique attractions straight out of Lightning Overdrive, of which we play 3. That being the 3 Amaze Attraction Horror House, the 3 Amaze Attraction Cyclocoaster, as well as our 1 Amaze Attraction Majestic Merry-Go-Round. Each of the Amaze attractions have an effect on activation to either target an Amazement monster you control or any monster your opponent controls and equip it with that attraction. And while equipped, they can activate effects depending on who they're equipped to. If the attractions are equipped to one of your monsters, i.e. one of your experienced Amazement park staff, they'll typically provide a beneficial effect that allows you to take on a more aggressive approach to your play. But if they're equipped to one of your opponent's monsters, i.e. they're partaking in the attraction itself, they'll be at the mercy of that attraction, typically providing a negative effect that allows you to take on a more defensive approach. While equipped to your monsters, Horror House allows you to target an opponent's monster and negate its effects. Cyclocoaster allows you to send itself and an opposing back row to the graveyard, and Merry-Go-Round provides your monster with an additional 500 attack and a one-time protection from destruction by sending Merry-Go-Round to the graveyard. But while equipped to your opponent's monsters, Horror House allows you to set that monster face down, Cyclocoaster allows you to send itself and add an Amazement monster from your deck to the hand, and Merry-Go-Round drops that monster's attack by 500 for each attraction trap equipped to a monster. Now, in terms of usage, Horror House is your go-to means of disruption. With both effects providing you some form of disruption, there generally is no downside to who you equip Horror House to. Having a once per turn imperm effect while equipped to your monster is generally a fantastic long-term effect that can really snowball fast. And we've already established since the Ursartic deck profile that setting monsters is one of the best means of disruption to date, preventing them from going to the graveyard, but also preventing them from being used for Link, Sync, or Xyz plays as well. Moving on to Cyclocoaster, its usage is much more vast. Being able to search for any of your Amazement monsters is great consistency for the deck, providing you a follow-up play for the next turn in your Amazement monsters to help you get into more attraction traps. But even in its other modes, Cyclocoaster provides you fantastic advantage, clearing out back row through non-destruction as a quick effect that can be used on one's end phase to remove newly set back row before they can become live. Now, compared to a roller coaster or a horror house, the merry-go-round just isn't as exciting, but its effect can still come in handy. Making your Amazement monsters bigger not only allows them to edge out close battles, but also allows you to chip more damage, an important factor given our surprisingly low monster count. Inversely, dropping an opponent's monster by the cumulative amount of your attractions helps us reduce the damage we take, while also providing the means to have it run over, making it easier for us to win less close battles and survive until the following turn. Moving on to the remainder of our traps, we have a slew of them. Kicking it off, we have our 3 Infinite Impermanence for more effect negation, our 3 Torrential Tribute for clearing the field, 3 Solemn Judgment, as well as 3 Solemn Strike for negating nuke spells, as well as Omni Negates, as well as a familiar package in our 3 Dogmatica Punishment. Now, you've seen Punishment before in a number of my control profiles as a mini engine consisting of 3 Dogmatica Punishment, 1 Titan-clad the Ash Dragon, as well as 1 Ecclesia. The goal of this engine is to have Punishment dump Titan-clad, of which you can summon Ecclesia on the end phase to grab a second Punishment, to provide us 2 terms of disruption. But given our trap focus of this deck, we can extend this engine further by also including 1 Shaddoll Schism as well as a Shaddoll package consisting of 1 App Cologne, 1 Construct, and 1 Window, of which we can access by having the second punishment send our App Cologne to search into our Schism, of which we can then summon out our other Shaddoll monsters, providing us 3 turns of hard disruption instead of the 2. 3 turns that usually end up on a Window to help us seal the game. Moving now into the monsters, we introduce the Park Staff, beginning with our 3 Amazement Administrator Arlecchino. Arlecchino is a hard-working man, working tirelessly to ensure that all park goers get the most out of their Amazeland experience. Like any good director, Arlecchino is always around to oversee the rides. Thus, Arlecchino comes packing with a nifty effect to special summon himself from your hand whenever a trap is activated. And while around, he always ensures new visitors are directed to one of Amazeland's fine attractions, allowing him to equip attraction traps directly from the deck to a targeted opponent's monster when they are normal or special summoned. Finally, Arlecchino likes to end the day with a display of fireworks around the park. So, when things roll around to your turn, Arlecchino can banish any number of different attraction traps from your graveyard to target the same number of cards on your opponent's side of the field and destroy them. Now, taking things in logically, Arlecchino does a lot for the Amazement deck. If that first effect seemed dramatically familiar, it's because it's the same effect as the well-known Altergeist Multi-Faker, providing an easy way to flash Arlecchino in onto the field whenever you disrupt with a trap. This works especially well with our Cyclo Coaster, given that he can special summon himself on your opponent's turn as well, thus allowing you to make more immediate use of what you search with Coaster. And once on the field, his Equip effect allows you to apply the opposing effect of your attractions with ease, slapping them on to newly summoned monsters directly from the deck. This means that you can book a newly summoned monster with Horror House's effect, search another Amazement monster with Cyclocoaster's effect, or weaken that monster with Merry-Go-Round before it attacks, giving Arlecchino immense versatility in a various number of situations. And, to cap it all off, Arlecchino's last effect provides you a way to capitalize on those attractions he equips. Since booking a monster with Horror House or searching with Cyclocoaster puts both of those cards into the graveyard, they become easy fuel for Arlecchino to consistently pop 2 in the coming turn, allowing you to clear the field to go in for easy damage with Arlecchino's 2600 body. Moving on to our other Amazement staff, we have our 3 Amazement Attendant Comica. Comica serves as your skilled operator for the Amaze attractions. On normal summon, Comica can directly set an attraction trap directly from your deck, and while on the field as a quick effect, Comica can target one of your attractions equipped to a monster and shift its equip to another monster. Despite lacking in the stat department compared to Arlecchino, Comica allows you to perform some very interesting plays. The on-summon effect is just good consistency, directly setting the trap from your deck to get around things like Ash Blossom. But it's that second effect that really has some cool applications. Being able to swap the equip between monsters provides you a dynamic way of making use of either effect of your attractions, allowing you to flip-flop between the beneficial and detrimental effects to answer the situation as needed. However, it also gives you the ability to hot potato the effects of the equips between monsters as well, allowing you to shift the equips onto different monsters for some really cool combos. For example, I can activate the effect of my Horror House to book my opponent's monster and chain to that with my Comica's effect to move it to another monster. When the chain resolves, the Horror House first moves onto the new monster before then resolving and setting that new monster. This is especially nifty given that while Comica targets the attraction trap, it does not target the monster you want to equip it to, allowing it to equip to monsters that have target immunity, like the Dragoons, to out them that way as well. Another good example is with Merry-Go-Round. While equipped to one of my monsters, I can attack with that monster with its boosted attack from Merry-Go-Round before then activating Comica's effect to shift it to a new monster, allowing that monster to also attack with the boost for additional damage. Inversely, I can also activate Comica's effect to move Merry-Go-Round to a monster that's being targeted for an attack or for destruction, allowing me to then send that Merry-Go-Round now equipped to that monster to save it from that destruction. Moving into the spells, we have 3 of our one-stop access to all of Amazeland's fun in our 3 Amazing Time Ticket. Amazing Time Ticket is a quick play spell that applies a different effect depending on whose turn it was activated in. If it was activated on your turn, you can add any Amazement card from your deck to the hand. But if it was activated on your opponent's turn, you can set any attraction trap from your deck onto your field, with that trap being able to be activated this turn. As I had opened with, Amazing Time Ticket is your one-stop access to the entirety of the Amazeland archetype. On your turn, it allows you to grab any of your Amazement monsters, netting you either a Comica to be summoned or an Arlecchino to be primed for your opponent's turn. And on your opponent's turn, it allows you to dynamically access any of your attraction traps that you might need, with that trap being able to immediately be used for disruption. What's nice about either option is that regardless of which option you choose, you have access into the other. By searching into your Comica, you have means to set up an attraction trap, and by means of Cyclocoaster, you have means to grab into one of your Amazement monsters. This means that, unlike other spells with hard once per turn conditions, opening multiple time ticket is nowhere near as detrimental, as regardless of whose turn you activate it in, you can assuredly be able to apply some manner of its effect to grab any archetypal card that you may need. Then, rounding off the deck with our consistency, we have the return of our 3 Pot of Prosperity, our 3 Pot of Duality, as well as our 1 Card of Demise. Given our incredibly low monster count, you need cards like Duality and Prosperity to get the ball rolling. Likewise, due to this low monster count, you're also eligible to play cards like Demise, as you have a low chance of breaking in those draws with monsters. And while you may argue that Prosperity may conflict with your Demise, the fortunate part is that it's a one-sided conflict. If I reveal Demise off of my Prosperity, I can always opt to not take that Demise. And at worst, if I was to draw Prosperity off of Demise, I can at worst set that Prosperity to prime it for use on the next turn to keep the consistency tempo going. Moving into the extra deck, as with most decks that play Pot of Prosperity, your extra deck is incredibly flexible given how little you'll be accessing it, in most cases being cards that you're going to banish off of Prosperity or send off your punishment. Here are the bare essentials of that 15 card extra deck. We have the 1 Titanclad to be sent off of our punishment to summon out our Ecclesia on the end phase. We have the 1 App Clone to which we can search out our Shaddoll Schism. We have the 1 Shaddoll Construct of which you can make using Schism by fusing a Shaddoll monster alongside a Comica. We have the 1 Shaddoll Window of which you can make by fusing a Dark monster like our Arlecchino and a Shaddoll monster. We have the 1 Entis for additional pops off of our punishment. We have the usual Nightmare package consisting of 1 Unicorn, 1 Cerberus, and 1 Phoenix for removal. We have the 1 Proxy F Magician of which you can use to actually fuse Shaddoll monsters on field alongside our Amazement monsters to hard make a Shaddoll monster that can attack directly, as well as the 1 IP Masquerena that allows us to link into any of our monsters to go into our Nightmares on our opponent's turn for disruption. And that's going to do it for our Amaze deck profile. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, I think the deck has definite meta potential. While I'm not completely sold on the low monster count that the deck currently bolsters, I do see the value cards like Arlecchino and Horror House have in a number of stun decks as an easily injectable engine. Given that Arlecchino has no restrictions in its effects unlike Multi-Faker, and Horror House is just a generic Book of Moon or Imperm as the situation is needed, these cards paired with the Amazing Time Ticket create a small 6 to 8 card engine that can benefit any stun deck going forward, and I look forward to seeing them appear in future topping lists. Regardless, this has been Tony, your deck architect here with an Amaze deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.